You've probably seen those videos that say YouTube is on, quote, easy mode. All you gotta do is post a video, go viral, print money. That's not really how it works. Here's the truth, YouTube is brutally hard. Not because it's complicated. The core mechanics are pretty simple actually, but it's hard because it messes with your head. You have to show up consistently and work in the dark with no feedback and keep going long after the motivation runs out and nobody's watching your videos. That's what breaks most people. But if you can manage your mindset and stay focused through the noise, YouTube becomes learnable, and that's what this video is about. Hey, if we haven't met yet, my name is Justin. I make videos about eBay and reselling. In the last 18 months or so, I grew this channel from 0 to, I don't know, 60, I don't even know where I'm at right now, 66 something thousand subscribers. Not with any gimmicks or growth hacks, just a clear strategy and a long period of sustained and uncomfortable work. So if you're curious what it actually takes to build a real YouTube channel, I'll show you the lessons I've learned, all the mistakes, my mindset, the strategy, all of it. So let's go. Lesson number 1, make the decision. For 3 years, I posted videos on this channel that basically nobody watched. I told myself I was trying, but the truth was I hadn't really made a commitment. I was just uploading here and there, hoping something would take off. But then on May 21st, 2023, I made the decision. I was no longer hoping. I wasn't making a wish. I didn't just hope that YouTube would happen. I didn't wish that I could be a YouTuber. I made a real decision, like, let's make this work. The reason I remember that date is because I bought a book called The YouTube Formula on that day. I started reading it and I started treating this like something that I was going to actually build, not just dabble with. And look, you can see it. If you look at my analytics on YouTube, this chart is flat for years, despite me publishing a bunch of videos that basically nobody watched. And like right here is where May 21st, 2023 is. And that spike is, it's 5 or 6 weeks after I made the decision to take this seriously. And like once you truly decide to do something hard, you stop looking for permission. You stop saying things like, someday I'll do this, or when I have more time. You just start figuring it out when you make the decision. That doesn't mean like fantasizing about the success. It means like setting specific goals and making plans and executing. And most people truthfully just don't ever really make that leap. They just dabble, and they dabble for years. So if you're watching this and you want to build something real on YouTube, you have to make the decision, not next week, like right now. All right, lesson number 2 is to just get started. You are not going to think your first videos are good. You might not think your first 50 videos are good. That's completely normal. The only way to get good at YouTube is by making videos, not by reading about it or watching videos like this or watching videos from creators that you admire or outlining for weeks. You learn by doing, and doing starts with hitting record and publishing. Your early videos are going to be stiff. Editing is going to be clunky. You're going to say way too much. You're going to hate your voice. You're going to watch the footage and cringe. That's the point. Every creator you admire started in that exact same spot. You just can't edit your way into being confident. You earn it by making something and publishing it and doing it again and again and again and again. I can't even watch my old videos, and I've been selling off and on, since then. But it wasn't until about, 3 or 4 years ago, 2019, 2020, that I started to take this a little bit more seriously. Even the ones from like 6 months ago make me wince just a little. That's not failure, that's progress. If you're improving fast enough to be embarrassed by your old work, you're on the right track. So stop waiting to feel ready. Just set up the camera, film something, edit it, upload it, then do it again and then again and again and again. You don't have to be perfect here. You just need to start. All right, lesson number 3, consistency is the game. So most YouTube channels die quietly, not from a lack of talent, but a lack of consistency. The platform rewards repetition. And if you sell on eBay, this probably sounds familiar. With repetition, you get better at filming and writing and editing and all the pieces that are required to make YouTube work. You start to build an audience, the algorithm starts to trust you, but none of it happens if you quit after 10 videos. You need to make dozens, probably hundreds before you see any traction at all. I didn't see any real growth until I had uploaded over 100 videos. So the hard part isn't doing the work when you're excited, it's doing the work when you're tired and unmotivated and nobody's watching your videos. That's where most people break. So just forget motivation, throw it out. You got to build discipline. You got to give yourself a schedule and stick to it, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly, I don't care. Just pick something that you can sustain and execute on it relentlessly. Lesson number 4, obstacles are helpful. Every creator is going to hit walls. They're going to have bad metrics. They're going to get harsh comments. They're going to get burned out. They're going to have tech issues, family stuff, you name it. That's not a sign to stop. That is the job. The people who fail let those obstacles become excuses. They'll say like the algorithm is broken, or I don't have time, or it's just not working. And that mindset is built to lose. Every time you hit a wall, you get a choice. Is this going to be an excuse or an opportunity? If your thumbnails aren't getting clicks, then learn design. If your audio sucks, then fix it. If nobody nobody watches your videos, then ask why and start over. That's how this whole thing works. YouTube is brutal to people who want comfort, but it rewards problem solvers. So stop expecting the process to be easy or smooth, because it won't be. And that's good, because every obstacle you figure out sharpens your skills and moves you ahead of the people who quit. Lesson number 5, be you, not anyone else. So most of YouTube is just basically copies of other copies. It's super derivative. And I say that in a nice way. My stuff is derivative too. But it's tempting, especially when you're starting out, to sort of mimic other creators that you admire. But the problem is if you try to be them, you're always going to be a worse version of what already exists. And viewers aren't looking for perfect. They're looking for realness. They want someone they can trust, someone with a point of view, someone that they can connect with. That doesn't mean being sloppy or rambling. It means telling the truth or owning your perspective, or talking like a human being and not a presenter. You don't need to fake energy or force charisma or turn into some weird character of yourself. Just be clear and honest and useful. That's all you really need. And a lot of people think that they just don't have anything worth sharing, but you do. Everyone has something worth sharing. You might not know exactly what it is, but that doesn't matter at this point. You sort of find your voice by using it. So just be yourself without apology. Don't try to be other people. All right, lesson number 6, not everyone is going to like you. Look, you're going to get dislikes. You're going to get dumb comments. Some of them are going to be personal. Some are going to be really cruel. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It just means people are watching. If nobody dislikes you, that just means nobody's paying attention, and that's not a badge of honor. That's a sign of obscurity. And so you're not doing YouTube to be liked by everyone, because that's impossible. You're doing it to connect with the right people. Your job on YouTube is to find them and basically ignore everyone else. If someone leaves a comment just to tear you down, just hide them from the channel. Don't argue with them. Don't explain. Just disappear them. That feature exists for a reason. And don't let one bitter voice silence your entire message. If you do, you're sort of just letting your critics control your creativity. And on YouTube, a thick skin is just not optional. It's a prerequisite. All right, lesson number 7, don't do it for the money. So if your goal is to get rich, just do something else, literally anything else. YouTube is a terrible short-term income strategy. It takes forever to get monetized, and even when you do get monetized, the money is extremely small, especially at first. And most creators are just going to make more money per hour flipping burgers or doing almost anything else. So why do YouTube? Well, because you like making videos, because you want to connect with people, because you care about the ideas that you're sharing. And that's sort of what's ironic here, is that the creators who do it for the right reasons are the ones who tend to succeed, and the ones that are chasing money burn out fast, because the returns don't match the effort, at least not for a super long time. And YouTube can lead to income, but it's only if you treat it like a craft, not like a cash grab. So just be honest with yourself. If you're here for the money, you're probably going to hate this, but if you're here for the work, the money might show up later, but it can't be the reason you're doing it in the first place. All right, lesson number 8, equipment doesn't matter much. Every new creator wastes time obsessing over gear. I'm no different. I love gear. But the truth is, your iPhone is probably better than what most YouTubers started with. Fancy cameras don't make good videos. Good ideas do. Clear structure does. Useful content does. Upgrade your gear only after you've sort of proven that you can make something worth watching. I made my first 50 or so videos with literally a cheap Logitech webcam and an old iPhone. So only after I hit 1,000 subscribers did I consider buying anything better. I'd say the only exception here, though, is audio, because if you sound bad, it's just a non-starter. People are going to land on your video and bounce right away. But even then, you don't really need to spend a whole lot. Spending $50 on a used microphone are going to put you miles ahead of most beginners. And since people are always going to ask, here's what I use. I have a used Sony a7C that I bought off of eBay. For a lens, I've got a Sigma 24mm f1.4 prime lens, also used off of eBay. I've got a couple Shure microphones. I use my iPhone for B-roll. I edit in Final Cut Pro, but none of that matters if the content is just bad. So start with what you have, make it work, and then level up later. Lesson number 9, subscriber count doesn't matter. So getting to 1,000 subscribers unlocks the ability to be monetized by YouTube, but after that, the number really just doesn't mean a whole lot. Plenty of channels have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, but can't break 1,000 views per video. But others have 5,000 subscribers and pull in tens of thousands of views every time they upload. What matters more is views per video and watch time and click-through rate. Are people clicking your videos and watching them, sticking around? Are they coming back? That's what YouTube cares about, not your subscriber count. I've published something like 170 something videos at this point that have generated right around 4.5 million views. That's 26,000 views per video, which I'm pretty happy with. And I just care way more about that number than I do the size of my subscriber badge. I think just chasing subscribers just feels like a distraction. You want to build content that people actually want to watch, not just grow subscribers indiscriminately. Just trust that the right audience will find you. All right, lesson number 10, you need a plan. And I know I said earlier just to get started without a plan, but you should do that. But once you've made a few videos, you can't just keep winging it. Most channels die for one of two reasons. They quit early, like way too early, or they just keep growing without improving. It's really interesting. Sometimes you'll see these channels that have like hundreds of videos or even thousands of videos, and they still are only getting like 100 or 200 views per video. The ones that actually grow, they're the ones that have a strategy. They plan their content, they study their audience, they understand what topics perform and why. Their videos feel spontaneous, but trust me, they're not. Every good creator is also a good planner. You don't need a business degree or anything, but you do need to start thinking sort of like a small media company. That means things like scripting and outlining and building a content calendar and tracking performance and just getting better on purpose, not by accident. If you're making videos just to, publish videos, stop doing that and instead start making videos that serve a clear purpose with a clear viewer in mind. All right, lesson number 11, pick a lane. So YouTube is a value exchange. Viewers are going to give you their time and you give them something in return, education or entertainment or sometimes both. Most new creators try to do everything and end up doing nothing well at all. The channels that grow are the ones that sort of pick a lane and stay in it for long enough to build an audience and build trust with that audience. So you want to ask yourself, are you here to educate people or are you here to entertain people? If you're charismatic and naturally funny, you can lean into that. But if you're like me and like most people, you want to start with education. It's more forgiving when you're on camera and your presence still kind of sucks. Over time, your confidence grows and you'll become more entertaining by default, but you need to start somewhere. And just keep in mind, you're not just making content, you're sort of building a reputation. And so picking a lane and driving in that lane and not swerving between a bunch of other lanes is the best thing to do here. All right, lesson number 12, know your audience. Most new creators make videos for themselves, which is fine at first, but if you want to grow, you have to sort of flip it. You want to make videos for them, the people you're trying to reach. Who are they? What do they care about? What are they struggling with? And don't guess, actually define it. I created fictional personas for my channel early on, like Wanda hates her day job and wants to sell on eBay, but feels overwhelmed. Or Bruce inherited too much stuff from his dead grandfather and doesn't know where to start. Every video I make sort of speaks to one of those personas that I've made up in my head. And the point is, you're not trying to serve the entire internet. You're trying to serve a specific type of person or group of people really, really well. And even this video, it's not for my usual eBay audience. It's for a different group entirely. So it probably won't do as well as my regular videos. And if it does, it'll be because I attracted a whole new type of audience, which probably doesn't know anything about eBay or reselling. So anyway, just stop thinking about your current viewers if you have any at all. Start thinking more about who you want to attract and then sort of reverse engineer your content to reach those people instead. All right, lesson 13, get good at titles and thumbnails. This is where most videos fail, not because the content's bad, because no one ever clicked on it in the first place. And you really want to think of your thumbnails and your titles as the video's packaging. If they don't spark interest, your video is basically just dead on arrival. Most creators treat this part of the process like an afterthought. They film some stuff, they edit it, and then they're uploading it, and they're like, oh crap, I need a thumbnail and a title. They might spend 5 minutes putting it together, and it shows. You really want to do the opposite. Start with a title and a thumbnail first. You want to build the video around a concept, not the other way around. Don't try to build the concept around something you've already filmed and edited. And being good at titles and thumbnails is not about clickbait or anything. It's about creating a reason for people to care enough to actually click and watch something. Spend time studying what works. Scroll through YouTube and take notes, which titles stick out and grab you, which thumbnails stop you from scrolling and make you want to click, and why. This is all about copywriting and design, so you really want to learn both. A mediocre video with a great title and a great thumbnail is going to outperform a really great video that basically no one clicks on because the thumbnail and title suck. That's just how the YouTube platform works, and if you ignore it, your videos are going to stay basically invisible. All right, lesson 14, nail the first 30 seconds. So getting the click through the thumbnail and the title is the first step. Keeping the viewer is step 2. And most people who didn't fail at the thumbnail and title part fail at this part. Even great videos lose 20% of their viewers in the first 30 seconds. And having a weak intro just sort of bleeds attention and people just stop watching. So if you're rambling or starting slow or putting these long-winded bios in the intro, all of that is just going to kill your video. You basically have half of a minute to earn your viewers' trust. You want to use that to make a promise and prove that this video is worth watching. So don't open it with like, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Don't talk about your day. Don't drop like a 10-second logo animation like it's 2008. Just get to the point, you know? If your thumbnail and title make a promise, your opening needs to reinforce that promise really clearly and really quickly. You know, tell people what they're going to get from watching this video and why that matters to them. Introduce yourself, but you know, quickly or only if it builds credibility. Otherwise, just skip it. People will figure out who you are if they actually care. You're not losing people because your content is bad. You're losing them because they never made it to the content in the first place. All right, lesson 15. One video means nothing. Eventually, you know, one of your videos is going to take off, which is awesome. You know, views are going to spike, subscribers are going to roll in. You're going to feel like you really cracked the code, but you didn't. One successful video is a fluke until it isn't. If you treat it like a breakthrough, the next few flops are just going to wreck you mentally, and they will flop. That's just how this works. YouTube rewards patterns, not moments. Success is more like what happens after the spike, you know, when you keep showing up and keep experimenting and keep improving, even when the views go back down after having one video do well. So, you know, let those wins motivate you, but don't worship them. You know, don't get lazy because of them. Don't think that you've figured it out and you're all done, because one video basically means nothing. 10 consistent ones, you know, maybe you're starting to figure it out. 100 means you're probably pretty serious. So stay focused, stay humble, and keep going. All right, thanks so much for watching. I know this is a little bit outside of the realm of my normal video, but hopefully you found it interesting. I've just learned so much about doing YouTube over the last several years, and I figured some of y'all might want to hear some of this. So hopefully this was helpful to you. I've got a couple other videos. Maybe these are going to be interesting to you as well. So feel free to check them out, and we'll see you next time.